used to think I'm the problem, that I was way too sensitive, reacting way too much.
Well, hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today is a new day and I am finally finishing filming this video. I have been filming this video for 2 weeks, I kid you not. And it is basically one pot meals that are super popular here in this household because let's be honest, sometimes it's just easier to only use one pot, less cleaning, less craziness. That is basically what this video is about. I started filming this and then that week my kids got sick, then I got sick, and then they got sick again. So alas, we are here today. We are going to finish this. This is the last recipe of this video and it is going to be a pasta Alfredo with chicken recipe. Now the reason I like this recipe is because not everything is made from scratch. A lot of the one pot meals, they require scratch ingredients, but this one does not. So I'm just gonna list off really quickly everything that we're gonna use. First up, we are going to be using this. It's basically a package of spinach and ricotta pasta. These are super quick. They only take 4 minutes to cook. And they have different flavors, different chickens, mushrooms, you know, like anything like that that you can choose from. We personally like the spinach ricotta one because we add a little bit of chicken. I'm also going to be using this Alfredo sauce. This is such a delicious sauce. Alfredo tends to hurt my stomach, but this one is really good. The ingredients are relatively clean and it just goes really well with that pasta. And for my chicken, I'm just going to season with salt as well as a little bit of the Mrs. Dash Original. This one has kind of that blackened chicken flavor. So I have frozen chicken. You can use fresh chicken if you want. But we're going to start off by preheating my 4-quart saucepan and we're going to sear the chicken and season it with salt and some Mrs. Dash. So I like to really heat up my skillet. I make sure that there's dancing water balls. That's how I know that the skillet is very hot and perfect to sear my chicken. Then I just place it all around the bottom. I'm going to cover this up so that it kind of defrosts a little bit and then we'll come back to it. Okay, so as you can see, now is when we go ahead and add salt to this as well as a tiny bit of the Mrs. Dash. And the Mrs. Dash, you can add a little bit, a lot, it's totally up to you. Depends on whether you like it very peppery. I find that it has a lot of pepper, so it can get pretty spicy for our taste. But if you're into pepper, it's gonna be perfect to add a whole bunch. All right, now it's time to flip this chicken. One thing I will say is that I find that this sauce is pretty thick. So I'm going to water it down. It has, I don't know, about 1/3 of a jar, which is perfect because I'm gonna add just a tiny bit of water to not make it so thick. But if you like a thick sauce, just add it as is. I already used this before and we found it to be pretty thick and that's why I'm gonna add a little bit of water. Okay, I add about 1/3 of a cup of water and look, it's still pretty thick. That's why, I don't know, we like to water it down. It's probably not the best, but you know, it's up to you. And now is when I go ahead and place the ravioli right on top. And I now add the rest of the sauce. And I'm going to turn the temperature down to low and let it slowly cook. Now these you're supposed to boil in water for 4 minutes, but I find that by adding a little bit of water and the sauce, In my cookware, because it functions as a semi-vacuum, it traps the heat and it really just cooks my pasta all the way through. So I don't know what type of cookware you have at home. If you want to be safe with the whole thing, you can always boil it. But I find that, you know, these are already kind of meant to be cooked in some sort of liquid, that the pasta sauce itself is enough. So now that it is on low, we are just going to let it cook for about 15 minutes, just because we aren't really boiling the water. It's going to slowly cook and then slowly start to boil, because you can't really put it on high. If you put it on high, the pasta is going to stick to the pan, because obviously there's just not a lot of water. So that's why it's a little bit longer of a process, but literally this is everything that I do. I don't have to do anything else. You can always take out the chicken and slice it if you want. I just take it out as is and eat it with the pasta on the side, so it's totally up to you. Essentially, what's nice about this dish is that it is a one-pot meal. You kind of put everything in and you let it cook, do its thing, and then it's done. On the side, I'm going to add a little bit of bread. This is homemade bread. I tried out a recipe I found online. It came out actually pretty good. It's nice and soft. Definitely let me know if you guys would like to see a video of it, the whole process. It's pretty easy, to be honest. But I'm going to add just a slice of bread on the side to this pasta so that you can kind of dip it in the sauce, and it just complements it really nicely. Now obviously this is something that you have to cook on the side, but I cooked this 2 days ago and it's still going strong. You can buy bread from the bakery, so you don't have to make bread at home. That's what's nice, is that it's not really something you have to cook. If you want to buy that delicious bread from the bakery to go with your pasta, definitely do that. Look how pretty this bread came out. I'm so proud of it. I still have a lot to learn, but it came out really good.
Until I realized we were different types, carrying a different triggers, scaring us to death.
Alright, check it out. It looks so good. So see, you don't really have to boil it. As long as you have enough water, like liquid. Now you can make the sauce a little bit thicker. For some people this is too thin, but for us it was perfectly fine. If you do add a little bit too much, just add a little bit of flour to thicken it up. Alright, it looks done. So as you can see, the pasta looks pretty cooked. And now we serve, and we top it off with a little bit of Parmesan cheese.
But that's all days, now that we see each other. Can we slow down, start over? Come closer. Oh, someday we will collide someplace where we can.
All right, we're gonna move on to recipe number 2. You're gonna get some pretty nice voiceovers because my kids are wild during the day and I really can't be bothered talking. As you saw in the first recipe, it was crazy. But we're gonna be doing my infamous rice and chicken. This is such a basic Latino dish. I feel like every Latin home has their version, and this happens to be my version. So I'm going to start with a base of tomato, onion, peppers, and we're going to place it in the food processor to get a nice guiso, as they call, which basically is like a sauce, I guess you want to say. I don't even know how to translate guiso, but this is going to be the base of the whole dish. And kind of the same thing, I'm going to start my chicken off by searing it, and then we're going to add this sauce. Now, my choice of rice is always going to be the jasmine rice. The basmati rice is a close second, but for rice and chicken, this is the rice to use. And we're going to be using 1 cup of rice. Obviously, if you have a bigger, larger family, you definitely want to use more, but 1 cup will do. And we are then going to take out the chicken because I'm going to shred it with a fork, followed by using my fingers. You want to shred the chicken as small as possible. And in the meantime, we're going to add the rice as well as water and allow it to cook while we are doing the shredding. Now you can eat the rice on its own. It is a 1-pot dish, but I wanted to add a side that didn't really require cooking. These are frozen plantains. They basically come already cooked. All you have to do is place them in the oven to defrost. So in my book, it's really simple, really easy, and it makes a nice side. Once you start to see that the rice is almost done, this is when I start to add the vegetables into my dish. I like buying the frozen carrots and peas. It's perfect. You can always shred your carrot if you want, but I am all about making my life easier, and this is just easier. I am going to then let it cook a little bit more, about probably 15 more minutes. And by then, the plantains are done and our dish is ready to be served. I like making little balls for the kids with this rice ball maker that we have. It's really easy. Not all of them will come out in balls because there's chunks of chicken, but a good portion of them will, and it's just easier for them to eat. And then for us, the grown adults, I like to grab a small bowl, really pack the rice in there, and then flip it onto the plate, and it comes out all pretty looking. It's totally up to you. You can always just scoop out the rice. That's one extra step, but alas, it makes me happy, okay? I do add ketchup to my rice and chicken. Let me know, are you a ketchup type of person with your rice and chicken? I know not everyone likes ketchup in their rice and chicken, but not gonna lie, I do. And this completes this meal. So it's super easy, super simple. You can do it all in one piece of cookware. Our next dish is going to be a white bean chili with some Italian turkey sausage. We're going to start by chopping up some celery as well as some carrots. I have this food processor which makes my life much easier. It also chops up my onion. So that's exactly what I'm going to start off by doing. You can use a knife and a cutting board if that's all you have at home. And I remember this day I decided to do this specific dish because I was starting to feel sick. And it all went downhill from there. But I added some olive oil, garlic, and then all the veggies, and I sauteed them until my onion started looking translucent. And to season this, I used pepper, oregano, chili powder. I like to use the Badia chili powder, but any chili powder will do. And I added, of course, a little bit of salt as well. I then added some Italian turkey sausage. You can use a normal sausage, but we are trying to cut back on red meats, and the turkey sausage is a great supplement. I also added some red bell pepper and 1 box of vegetable broth. You can use beef broth, but once again, we're trying to cut back on beef. I also added 1 cup of white bean and also 1 cup of red beans. I like to pre-cook a lot of my beans and then just place them in the freezer. That way I'm not using canned. Once I start to see that my turkey is ready to be cut, it's thawed out, I take it out, place it on the cutting board, and cut it up into thin slices, and then half those slices, and then place it back into the cookware so that it continues to cook with the rest of the beans and veggies. But so far it is looking good. From here on out, it's just basically a waiting game. You let it cook for as much as possible. About 1 to 2 hours is best so that the flavors really blend in together. And that is this beautiful white bean chili. I mean, it's such a healthy alternative from using beef or sausage, and it tastes really good. You can always add toppings as well, such as sour cream, cheddar cheese. We add a little bit of Cholula to give it a spice, lime, and voila. All right, you guys, this completes this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm glad we're finally able to finish this video, but like always, remember to dream big, be brave, and explore life. Until next time. Mwah.